now we're good to go. The Attorney General, the continuation of your testimony. So I guess the legal will do the necessary things, because I think this is not your first time appearing. So you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back.
And at this point, I would hand you over to the legal team to lead you through your testimony this afternoon. Legal.
Honorable Chair, we're having a bit of a technical difficulty hearing both ourselves and the witness. Perhaps if we could, we don't need to go. Perhaps the IT will just furnish us with headsets to make it more audible. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I believe it should be fine. Honorable AG, my apologies, if you could just say something so I can just confirm that.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. I can also hear you. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the National Assembly.
Thank you.
Honorable AG. And welcome back to the Special Select Committee, albeit virtually. I would like to make it known to you and to the public as well that today is our last day of hearing, and seeing that you kicked off the whole affair, we would like you to ceremoniously close it as well. But of course, the ceremony must end with just a few questions and answers, and then we proceed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to see the committee walk through to the end.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're grateful. I wish to for you to confirm whether the ministry conducted a full internal search of all documents relating to this committee's work, and that all those documents have been submitted to the committee.
These were my instructions as per the request that we received, because the summon that we received listed documents. Of course, there is a overriding clause that says that and all other documents, but of course that would have required us carrying all the other files and everything to the office, which I don't think that was the contemplation. But the specific request based on the summons we received, if you see the files that we have submitted, we tried to submit a bunch in response to each of the questions. This was a process.
Honorable AG, I'm not sure if you can hear us. We all seem to. Sorry?
I think it's the internet.
Okay.
I think my Wi-Fi dropped, so I switched to another Wi-Fi.
That's fine.
So I don't know what last did you hear from my response.
In fact, we didn't hear much. It was just your introductory remarks.
Okay, so I'll take that again.
Instruction.
Your question is whether I can confirm whether we submitted all the documents. that were requested from us. I was saying yes. To the best of our ability, we restricted the submissions of the documents to this phase of the summons. We tried to submit to you a file in answer to each. So that's why if you see the files were numbered. Yes, to the greatest extent, yes. I supervised that process myself. I remember going to the office during the weekend and with a whole team of staff. And we were digging into the archives of the files, various files, and bringing out all the documents that have been specifically mentioned on the summon that they were needed. I said in my earlier response that, of course, there was an overriding provision that says, and all other documents. Of course, like I said, that would have required us simply transferring the files, which I do not think was the contemplation. But if there is any document that is outstanding, and you require us to do further search, we're more than happy to do further search, but we try to respond as adequately to your requests as possible.
Okay, because the committee noted that the submissions were progressive. They were always submissions that were prompted, and the submissions were done like we have on record 3 submissions that were done, and at each point the ministry was prompted, and at each point, the ministry, that overriding clause, that all-encompassing clause was evident in both the summons, the order, and the request by the committee as well. Is there an explanation as to, I know you've preferred an explanation just now, but I wish for the committee to hear an explanation as to the fact that whether additional documents were discovered after the initial submission, or were they available at all times and just to be submitted upon request?
Well, like I said, I've supervised this to the extent possible that I could, but it was directly supervised by the Solicitor General. What I know, my directive is full cooperation with the committee. I mean, that has been my directives. The ministry should ensure we cooperate with the committee fully and provide all the documents that you require. So definitely we gave all that we think was relevant to the summons, the orders. But like I said, if there is anything outstanding, one thing I can assure though, there is no document in our possession that we know is relevant and you would need that we deliberately withhold. I think I put it that way. So if there is anything outstanding, probably it was judged that it may not be relevant to your work or you did not request for it. But if you have any inclination or idea that there is a document in the ministry that is still relevant to your work, we are more than happy to look for them and provide them as long as they're in the ministry.
Okay, so can the ministry confirm, through you of course, that all relevant documentation required for the inquiry were submitted to the committee?
So this is the overriding issue I was talking about. This is a difficult one because what I may consider by my interpretation of the order as may not be relevant, you may consider it relevant. So really, I cannot give a definitive answer because I don't want to be held to contempt of your orders. But all I can say is we are in good faith ready to provide any document that you need and you believe is in our custody. The only reason that you would not get it, then we may not have found it. But if you find it, we have no reason of withholding any single document away from you.
Okay, I just wish to note that the order actually says all documents, like you highlighted. But at this point, I would refer back to the Honorable Chair on the high table. Honorable Chair, back to you.
Thank you very much, Council. Honorable Minister, at this point, the members of the committee will intervene. At my far right, or left, Honorable Mbo will take the floor, and then Mbo, you have the floor. Come on,
that is. Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you, Honorable Mbo.
Okay. Now, with regards to these documents that we are talking about, and I think you are quite right, the order was really very clear in terms of actually being very specific on some documents, but also asking if there's anything else that you think may be very relevant in this particular situation. Now, I do remember during the course of the conversation with other witnesses, the former AG, the Minister of Finance, and other witnesses, an issue always comes up in terms of the involvement of the Minister of Finance since the beginning in the Minister Task Force. In fact, it was me that actually questioned that because again, when you deal with the sales of items that actually we can say that belongs to the government, the Minister of Finance, as per the Public Finance Act, is crucial for them to be part of this thing. Now, during the interrogation and also the conversation we had with other witnesses, it was evident that there was an issue with the involvement of the Minister of Finance for various reasons. And we are with communication from the former Minister of Finance sent to the Attorney General protesting his exclusion from the special committee. And I think such documents are really very relevant in what we are asking for. Because going by the Public Finance Act, it's very evident that the Accountant General, who is under the Minister of Finance, actually is the Paymaster General, is the Receiver General of all proceeds of government, including when you want to open accounts in the Central Bank of the Gambia or the commercial banks. They have to be in the know because at the end of the day, they prepare the government accounts. But we are not in possession from the Minister of Justice any documentation related to that protest or the response from the Minister of Justice. And we think this document was really crucial in our work because we wanted to understand why was it that the Minister of Finance was not actually not really involved in this thing. Even though the technical committee, we are aware that they had a representative, but in this particular instance, the permanent secretary or the AGD cannot represent the minister in such a task force. So the document we have is a protest from the former Minister of Finance sent to the Attorney General's office and highlighted key deficiencies that the Minister of Justice actually is ignoring. And they warned the Ministry of Justice that this could lead to loss of money or loss of a lot of things for the government of the Gambia and challenging him. But then yet, we have not received any documentation from the Minister of Justice. Are you aware of such a protest, or have you ever seen such a letter coming from the former Minister of Finance protesting his exclusion in the Minister Task Force?
Yes, these are the same questions I asked myself when I took over the Ministry of Justice as to the absence of Ministry of Finance in the task force. At that stage, no, I did not see. I only got an oral explanation as to the issues or the disagreements that was between the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Finance. But coming to the documents themselves, I would ask not you, but counsel, among the documents that were submitted from the Ministry of Justice, can you confirm to me there is no correspondence on this subject between the two ministries?
No, not from the Ministry of Justice. We did receive it from the Ministry of Finance.
Ministry of
Finance.
Okay, well, I don't know the explanation for that. I'll take responsibility for the omission. If you still need the documents, we could still go back and check. Like I said, it was a deep dive that we were doing into the documents and the archives. I'm not too sure whether the right file was checked to see this correspondence between the two ministries regarding the disagreement. But yes, there was a disagreement, and I agree with the committee that such a discussion between the two sectors is relevant to your work. I can't hear you, Honorable Bo.
Do you have any special file at the ministry that is very specific on the commission, on the JANNEH commission, for example, the communications that the ministry is making with other stakeholders, like the other ministries, local government, tourism, etc.,
So
or
the
other stakeholders, etc. Do you have any specific file that contains correspondence? Because again, I know the Minister of Justice actually, you deal with a lot of people, particularly as the advisor, legal advisor of government. I'm aware of that. But such a commission that is really crucial in the transitional justice. Do you have any particular file that you keep correspondence relating to this JANNEH commission?
So I'll find out. To be honest with you, if you sit at the level of minister, you don't know how documents are filed. You only given reference numbers when you are writing. So I do not know this particular correspondence, whether it was part of minister's confidential correspondence between the two ministers, or it was treated as a JANNEH commission. So depending on the subject and how the records office treated it, that will determine which file it is kept. And depending on whether the search that we conducted, we've reached that file or not, would be very material why probably it was not provided. Maybe it is kept in a different file, completely unrelated to JANNEH Commission, because you have JANNEH Commission files were all brought out. That I can guarantee. When we received the summons, personally, I went to the office and I called in a lot of staff, and we brought in all JANNEH Commission files. But because these are correspondence in nature, I don't know whether they may be filed as part of letters or other correspondences that are not slightly related to JANNEH Commission, and that's why we omitted it. But yes, different files are kept. Sometimes this thing may go to Ministry of Finance's file, not necessarily JANNEH Commission file, because it's a correspondence between two ministers. So I didn't know how the filing was done, and probably that could have been the reason why it's omitted. I really don't have the answer. I only agree it is a relevant document to your work. If it was omitted, it is inadvertent.
Just a second.
Looking for a specific document.
Yeah. The thank you very much, Mohammed. I was just checking on the documents here. Now, in February 2020, um, were you the finance? Sorry, the Attorney General in February
No,
2020?
no.
You were not.
No.
Okay. Now, there is a letter we've received, and I wanted to find out exactly how do you treat confidential letters from your colleagues?
The way we
Letters that are
operate
marked
is
highly confidential. Yeah.
the way we operate is filings are entirely a different administration. So when we receive them, if they are marked confidential, the records office knows how to file it. I don't do the filings myself.
Okay. I just want to read with the permission of the chair, just one portion of the letter, which was really very concerning. And this is a letter that was written by the former finance minister addressed to the Attorney General, dated 6 February 2020. and the heading or the caption says appointment of receiver, sale of assets and dividend proceeds from the JANNEH Commission, among others. On this particular paragraph, the former minister is saying, you stated in your letter that you exercise your discretion to appoint a receiver alpha capital for the management and liquidation of the forfeited assets. May I remind you that discretionary power does not mean that you have unlimited and unnecessary discretion, nor does it mean that you must be free from all limitations in the exercise of discretion conferred. Discretion must be exercised according to the rules of reason and justice within the limits to which an honest man competent to discharge his or her office ought to confine himself. So essentially, the former minister is actually responding to a correspondence from the minister, from the Attorney General. And you can clearly see why we believe that such a correspondence between the two ministers actually is really, really very important this committee, because we want to know exactly how and why based on this letter, the advice from the Minister of Finance, who is actually responsible for all the financial of the government of the Gambia, was not listened to or was not heeded.
I can assure you we will search everything today. After this testimony, I'll give you instructions. If we have them, you will receive them tomorrow.
Yes, Chair, may I make an application for the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, to provide this committee with all the correspondence related to the JANNEH Commission between the Minister of Justice and other ministers like Minister of Finance, Lands, in relation to the JANNEH Commission. All correspondences between him and his colleagues as far as the JANNEH Commission is concerned.
Between the Attorney General and
General Office,
other
yes.
ministers?
Attorney General, yes. Yes,
okay.
The Minister of Finance and all the other ministers that are part of the task force.
This is
the ministerial task force.
Post white paper, right? After the white paper, because we are looking at sales, right? Or you want?
No, it was like before, during, and after.
So everything, all corresponded really into
everything. Yes. Yes. Because the committee wants to know exactly the thinking of the ministers at the time. Because based on what we have so far, we are seeing some discrepancies in terms of excluding, for the most part, the Minister of Finance, who actually we believe should be at the center of any sale of assets that belong to the government.
The rest of all, we will provide them.
Application is granted. Legal, take note of the application that the honorable member is question from the ministry, and the honorable minister has acknowledged that they will definitely do so. Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. That's all I have for the minister. Thank you very much.
Yes. Let's now turn to honorable Sir to ask his questions.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister.
Yes, good afternoon, Honorable Member.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Honorable Minister, when because are sent to you from the Parliament or from the committee, do you normally go through them to confirm whether everything that was present from you is sent?
The word everything is the catch here. I ensure that my understanding of the request is met.
But do you normally go back to your team to see whether they have sent in what was asked by the committee to send, for you to send to the committee?
In fact, I physically inspected the files that were transmitted.
Based on
But
your
then, like I said, it's a human work. We might have omitted one or two things, but we do our best to meet your demands 100%.
Thank you. Yeah.
Honorable Ture, any question? Honorable Ture does not have question. I don't know whether my question is similar to my colleagues, but I would ask you this question. earlier in your intervention, you said when the requests come to you, make sure that those relevant documents are submitted. If I may ask, what yardstick did you use to determine which is important or which is relevant, rather?
So most of the summons, like I was telling council, other than usually the last clause, which is very broad, which says an any or every other document, we try to respond to the other specific requests because the requests are bulleted. You will see we want documents with respect of this, we want documents, and then there is always an overrider below. Now, the overrider depends on your interpretation. The overrider could sometimes mean literally almost lifting all the office files and bringing them to you. And that doesn't make sense. We know that's not what actually you mean, but it basically is like calling on us to do our best to make sure in our best judgment, whatever we think is relevant is provided. So that's my understanding of that kind of overrider. So, and that is why anytime that you deem something is missing and it might be in our custody, you call our attention and we do extra work to fetch them and provide them.
Okay, thank you. At this point, Council, are you ready to continue leading the minister through his testimony? So over to you.
Thank you. Honorable Attorney General, I just wish to confirm whether you have received the 2 documents I personally sent.
Within the last 1 hour, yes.
Yes. Apologies for that. It should have come much earlier.
Okay, yes. I acknowledge I received them within the last 1 hour.
Yes, but it's we assure you that there are conversations that are within your remit. The first document is a document, an internal document from the National Assembly, which is our Hansard records.
Yes.
We will be going back in. Perhaps let me ask whether you can see me on the screen. I don't wish to leave you alone on the live.
No, I'm seeing a blank screen from your side, but I wouldn't mind. If it is a glitch, I don't mind.
IT could assist me in the meantime. Okay.
I can see you now.
See, lawyers can still have some IT skills sometimes. Yeah, so that's the first document. But the second document is a document from the judiciary, an internal memo within the judiciary. And perhaps when we get there, the committee, I would ask that the chair give you a few minutes to go through the letter, if you haven't already gone through it. Because
I've already gone through it.
Okay, great. So those are the issues. Perhaps apart from those, we'll be talking about payments from banks and persons adversely mentioned. We will also be discussing the status of assets disposals and the proceeds as they are currently. I would also like to discuss the reversal of certain sales and also discuss certain properties such as the Hamza Barracks property and other similar properties dealt with by the Ministerial Task Force. Of course, we wish to discuss the Ministerial Task Force as well. And lastly, perhaps we cap it off with discussing the famous safe that contains the gold bars and gold coins and other valuables, which are lodged from the testimony of this, given to this committee, which would be lodged at the Office of the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Justice. So those are the issues that we will discuss. They seem many, but I can assure you the discussions would not take so much time, especially if the answers are straightforward. We could be done early today.
Thank you. I'm at the disposal of the committee.
Okay. So we will start with the payments from banks and persons adversely mentioned. And what the committee wishes to know is if you can provide the Honorable Committee with an update of the status of payments owed to the government by the banks and individuals who were adversely mentioned and due to pay certain sums.
Do you have any specifics in mind? Because on top of my head, I know some recoveries. The only recovery that I know that is ongoing, these are debts that I know were owed to, I think, Euro Africa, which is a company that is associated, if I'm not mistaken, by Bazi, Ahmed Bazi. And
there's also the APRC account and all the accounts of the former president and his associates that were in the commercial banks. Just to narrow it down.
I'm not. I have no briefings on those ones. But for Euro Africa, I know collections are going on by Faraj Andrews, and they are pursuing the debts. They used to be counsel for Bazi, and when we took over the assets, we simply asked them to collect and remit the debts to government. That one I know, I can answer that on top of my head. I know probably dividends. If it is dividends, I think dividends in GT Bank. Those ones also are being managed by the receiver, which are also being paid into the consolidated or receiver's collection account as and when they are paid. Other than that, unless I check further, I have not got any briefings on top of my head regarding monetary payments from commercial banks or other people.
If you could indulge the committee, which entities or individuals have fully complied with the requirements to pay? Would that be within your reach?
We should be able to dig that information for you, but not definitely on top of my head. Because I know there are some entities that have arrangements with government in terms of consent, arrangements of settlement, whatever. And I know, yes, quite a few of them have been either have fully complied or they have reached an agreement with government that they do not owe anything. So I don't want to name names because some of these are commercial enterprises. If I have to name them over anything, I have to be sure. But if this is information that you need, we can do a quick check. Who were owing as at the white paper, and as we speak today, how many? I think this was a question that was once asked by this committee. I don't know whether you got all the materials. Like, I think one of your questions you asked was the cases that were all in court regarding the JANNEH commission and were settled and whatever. I don't know whether those information were provided, but I clearly remember. And I assigned the team to go to the courts and collect all settlements and provide them to you.
So none of that information has been received. And in fact, those are questions that we will deal with today. You have preempted me on them. I'm not sure
I'll be surprised myself then that is not provided. But I remember clearly those are boxes that we were to tick as a list of things, because that was a specific. So I can remember that on top of my head. Okay, I'll note that.
That's fine. I envision that a lot of the questions might not be, the answers might not be on the top of your head. So perhaps I can make a writing application to the chair, so we can just note. If the question is that if the answer is that you cannot provide the facts now, then we agree on a date that this can be furnished. You are aware that today is the last day, and our report is very tightly scheduled. And perhaps if we could put a date of Monday, and I'm not sure how reasonable that is on your end.
No problem. I undertake that immediately I go offline, I will send instructions, very strong instructions. I think there was some work that was done in this area. I don't know why you do not have this in the dossier of documents you've received, But yes, we will look at all those entities that were in some form of negotiations and settlement arrangements with the Ministry of Justice and what state they are. We will provide them.
Great. Perhaps, okay. And there's no need for me to ask that question, Honorable Chair. The status of the cases. We will just note that down. Perhaps we can also note down the fact that what the total amount recovered by government with respect to the persons or the individuals who were adversely mentioned, and which payments remain outstanding.
I don't know whether that is a suitable question for Minister of Justice, because even if we enter into the arrangements for payment, payments are not lodged at the ministry. They are lodged in the account, and the accounts are managed by Ministry of Finance, I believe, through the Accountant General. So the numeric numbers, but we can request for it.
So we were informed by the Accountant General that it is within the domain of the Ministry of Justice, and that's why the question is being brought.
All right. Okay. We will do all we can.
Exactly.
We will do all we can within our competence to provide you with any figure that is available.
Very good.
So that is the total amount of proceeds as of today.
Yes, but not proceeds.
And this is not only limited to the cases settled by the justice, but all entire wholesale, the whole JANNEH Commission related sales.
No, this is with respect to the individuals who were adversely mentioned and the financial institutions as well as the shares. Yes,
Okay. Individuals adversely mentioned and shares, total proceeds received, right? Okay, good. You are muted, Council. I can't hear you.
My apologies. Last question on this issue. Were there any action? Was there any action or enforcement mechanism, such as notices issued to any of these individuals, to the best of your knowledge? Perhaps for default?
The only one I can remember is a sale, auction sale that was done of, we call it Royal Atlantic Residence, but this is the property along Patil Hardin Highway. A Gambian company that were the most responsive. Of course, yes, that one is one of the few properties that were sold during my time. And when they were not performing their side of the contract, yes, I instructed the termination notice to be sent to them, and that was issued. But since then, they've come up, stepped up, and they have remedied that non-performance. So the contract is up and running. We never got to terminate it, but yes, we have issued the termination notice. That's the only instance I can remember that we've given notice.
Okay, but there are no actions in court with respect to these individuals.
With respect to that is no, we didn't get to go to court. But whether there are other pending matters in court, yes, I believe. With respect to the property that is at Kairaba Avenue, where the bakery used to be, you would know. And the property that is at Jimpex, that mega warehouse, just right at the Jimpex there. Those two properties, I believe, are still in court.
Okay. Can you just describe the warehouse again so we can...
This is the warehouse that if you are coming from Westfield, I think it would be the last property. You know, Jimpex is the Cross Johnson, so it is the last property on your right at that Cross Johnson there. I don't know whether that's the not too sure whether that is the Sanko-Silla Johnson or a different Johnson. I'm not too sure. But the Cross Johnson, the popular Cross Jimpex Cross Johnson, the last property on your right, if you look at it, I mean, it's a mega warehouse there, a big warehouse. I think currently it's being leased to, I don't know who, but it's meant to keep rice and very heavy cargo materials.
Okay. And I did promise that was the last question on the issue, but what's government's plans regarding the shares at GTB? Is that something that you are at liberty to divulge right now?
Yes. At some point, it came up in one of our task force meetings. The receiver did ask, "Do we want to dispose of the shares?" This is something that we left to the advice of the Ministry of Finance. But I think the advice that we received at the time was not to dispose. So we halted the proposal to dispose. We did not approve for the shares to be disposed. But of course, this is government, and our government position could change. But at this stage, the advice we received as a task force was not to dispose of the shares. So we continue to manage them and be receiving dividends.
And if I get it right, the management of the shares are still under the portfolio of the receiver.
At this stage, yes. So when the receivership ends, then government will decide either dispose them or transfer them. I don't know who the competent institution will be, whether it will be finance or wherever.
Okay, because that was my next question, whether or why an institution such as finance have not taken over since a decision was made to retain the shares.
Exactly. It's a valid question. Hopefully, we will interrogate that question in our next task force meeting.
Okay. Perhaps we can move on to the status of assets disposals, which would include discussing or talking about the task force. You have just indicated that there has been at least one meeting of the task force since you assumed your role as Attorney General. Can you please enlighten us?
You are breaking. I think this time is on your side. I need to repeat what you've been saying.
No, what I was just saying is that I wish to transition to another issue, which is the status of assets.
Okay.
And you had just mentioned that there was a meeting. You have at least attended one meeting of the task force. So perhaps you can give us an update of the current stage in which the task force is in with regards to the assets.
At this stage, we called, I think, 3 phase sales were done in phases. I think sales were done phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, unless I am wrong. So it is the phase 4 final sales that is pending. Valuations of the properties were done and they were submitted to the task force. The task force met over those valuations and decided that those valuations were overtaken by time, in the sense that they were done a long time ago. So they asked the receiver to revalue the properties. That revaluation has been done, but government is advising itself. I've received instructions that let's hold on, because government might not necessarily have to end up selling those properties, or all of them, because government is in need of certain premises for use. So that's where we are now. So we are going to now allow cabinet or whichever competent authority in government to look into those assets and probably decide on what will be allowed to be sold, and then we can dispose of those ones, and those that are decided to be retained will be retained.
Okay. So it seems like we can account for the delay in any activity with regards to the fourth phase. We attribute that to cabinet's deliberating.
No, partly because of your own committee. When this issue started, we halted everything.
I see.
And we allowed, because it wouldn't have made sense that you launch an inquiry and then we are busy selling. We need to allow you to do your job and probably advise. So partly is that, but partly, yes, government is rethinking its position on sales as well.
Yes. Well, we are very grateful. That statement is definitely welcomed, that the executive respects the legislature enough to halt the sales. But I just wish to clarify one issue. We received evidence from the receiver that some monies, rather central bank, that some monies have been transferred to the designated account by the receiver. This was during the pendency of this committee. Can you confirm whether those monies were from the 3 phases, or that
Yeah, they are not new
fourth phase?
sales. They are not new sales. These are sales that were done, and payments were some payments. Some buyers had the payment plan, or as per the sale agreement, they were supposed to pay in milestones. So I think those are the payments coming, including the one that I mentioned that I had to send a termination notice, and then after sending the termination or notice, they had to augment their payment.
Is there an agreement with the, or rather, let me ask it this way: is there a timeline for when the receiver is to deposit all monies into the designated account?
I believe we provided the contract that I signed with him.
With the receiver,
I am
yes.
not too sure whether we specifically took care of that. No, I'm not sure. I need to check the contract whether contractually.
That's fine. I've just noted it down as one of the part of the
All right.
information.
So the timeline for remitting the proceeds to the consolidated or to the central bank.
Yes.
All right.
And can you confirm that all proceeds from the 3 phases have been properly paid into the designated account?
I cannot confirm that. That's a
it's
question of audit. And I understand these are accounts that are audited. I definitely am not in a position to confirm that.
Okay. With regards to, I wish to look at your report. Unfortunately, it's not one of the documents I sent to you. It's quite bulky, but I'm sure you will be able to follow. I'll try and explain it as explicitly as possible. If you don't follow, please feel free to alert me to it, and we will send you a copy.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'll forward it to you. Nonetheless, I'm being told that a copy is already available. However, it is a bulky document, and
which document is it?
It is the 2 reports to cabinet from the task force. The first report is dated April 23rd, 2020, and the other is sometime in October. It is 28th of October, 2020. Now, the question I have...
October 20?
2020.
Okay. Who authored that report?
It was the task force. The chairperson being the Attorney General, of course. I'm sure it should have been your predecessor.
Yeah, that is the irony here. October 2020, I was the Attorney General. And I don't think I did that report.
Right, so the document is not signed, but it's dated 28th of October, 2020. Yes, there's no signature on the
tax force members as at that date. Is it listed there?
It's listed. Yes, it is listed on the first page, on the introduction.
And I'm not in that list?
Well, it doesn't mention the members by name.
By name is not a position. Okay. All right, let's go through it. Let me see. I'll be able to know whether But by
So
that date, because I believe I became AJ I started work on the 1st of July, for the records, 1st of July 2020.
okay, one second. Please indulge me for a minute, Honorable AG. So just to clarify, from evidence we received from the former Attorney General, he has made clear to the committee that this submission was not done by him. So since you have confirmed that you were the Attorney General on the 28th day of October 2020, perhaps you can attribute the report to you. And because there is some ambiguity, perhaps I would ask that we have a 2-minute stand down, not to go off air, but just to furnish you with the document so that you can look at it.
Okay, very well. 2 minutes? Sure. Okay.
How is it going to be sent to me? Email, WhatsApp?
We could send it via either. Honorable AG, we have sent it via both mediums.
I am, that's fine. I am familiar with this document.
Great. So if we look at
But
page
let me
7,
make one thing clear.
sure.
This was a technical committee report, not the ministerial task force itself. The ministerial task force has a technical arm, which comprised of the permanent secretaries of the ministries that comprised the ministerial task force. So those permanent secretaries met, looked at the report, and looked at the white paper and the JANNEH Commission reports and developed a report. Now, this report is now what guides the cabinet ministerial committee. So this is not a report generated by the ministers. This is the permanent secretaries level committee of the task force. I think that clarity is important. Council, did you hear me?
Yes, yes, Honorable AG.
So it's a technical report. This is a technical report, not ministerial committee report.
Okay, perhaps we can look at the first page.
Yes.
The one that says introduction. It seems to suggest otherwise.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Whatever you see on top there, I'm helping you to appreciate the document. Titles could be misleading, whatever. But this is a technical committee report of the permanent secretaries of the task force.
Because the intro also indicates that it's okay. The intro clearly. Technical speak.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you go to the second paragraph and I will read it for your hearing?
Yes.
It says the government considered the report and in the white paper issued therefrom, stated its decisions and accepted the findings and recommendations as they relate to the issues brought out in the report. An interministerial committee comprising the following ministries below was set up to recommend to Cabinet the uses of which the forfeited properties may be put. A technical committee comprising the permanent secretaries of the said ministries and those of MOFIA and MOSI was constituted to advise the interministerial committee. Did you see that?
Yes, I've seen that. That's why I said
this report belongs to that
actually.
technical committee, not the ministers.
Okay. So what I'm interested in is in the next page, but the point is taken that this is the technical committee report instead.
Yes.
So what we wish to highlight is on page 7 and pages 3 of the two documents, respectively.
Unfortunately, the version that I have, the pages are not numbered.
Yes, the one we were just deliberating on, it's on the next page from
So I
the
will.
introduction, but the other document is numbered.
Oh. It's not the one that I was just reading now. I have to open another document.
It's both of them, but if you can follow from the first document, that's fine. You can turn the page from introduction where you see the table, and it
let me
says
open
city
the
of,
second one and see.
it says City of Banjo. Perhaps in the interim, let me ask, was the technical committee report, this report that we're deliberating over, was it ever sent to cabinet itself, or did the buck stop at the task force?
I don't know. Like you can see on the dates, when this technical committee report was developed, I was not the minister. Let me see. 1 second. Sorry. 1 second. October 2020, I was indeed the minister. Yeah, but I'm not sure about this date, but I was never aware of the meetings of this technical committee. All that I remember is this report. Yes, the task force uses this as a guide in our meetings.
Okay.
But as the chair, I have never been formally handed over this report as this. I only saw the report, and we'll be using it as a guide for the task force. And I know it's a product of the permanent secretaries.
Sure. The property I wish to deliberate over is the Daniel Goddard Street or Hagan Street property. That is number 78A and 78B.
It's number.
It should be number 1. It's the first item on both reports.
Number 178A and B of Hagan Street. Okay,
Yes.
Daniel Goddard. Okay, yes.
So I would track back since we have the technical committee report and the interministerial committee reports. What we can do is let's look at the technical committee report, the final report, which is the report of the 28th of October, and then we'll track back to the report of April. On the report of the 28th of October, you would see that the technical committee captured the recommendation by the JANNEH Commission that the property be sold by public auction and the proceeds of sale apply to payments of monies for which the former president and all companies associated with him and his wife are found to be liable in the report. And the recommendation by the committee itself was for government to reserve for government use. Now, I'm sorry, I know this is a virtual hearing and it's difficult to reference documents, but I'll have to refer you to yet another document, which is the Hansard records from Parliament. And I wish to highlight from the 20, my apologies, from the 21st of September 2022 sitting, question and answer.
Page.
It will be on page 44 onwards.
1 second. Yes.
So you would see exactly on page 40, well, it's all relevant from page 45 onwards. It's all relevant, but I would direct you exactly at page 47, 46 and 47. 46 is a summary of the phases, and during the question and answer session with yourself and Parliament, in Parliament rather, you had mentioned that the first phase began on the 4th of September and finished on the 18th of September 2019 at 4. And I believe that is also consistent with what we have received in evidence in the reports. In fact, you have gone further to highlight that 14 properties were sold, and you listed all 14 properties on the first phase. Now, my question is that first item on the first phase, you can also see it on page 47. It's number 78A and 78B of Daniel Gordon Street or Hagan Street. It was reported as being sold. And we wish for you to enlighten the committee on the status of that particular property, whether the sale was maintained or was a reversal effected.
78A Daniel Goddard Street.
Yes.
As per the I'm trying to look at the receiver's report to update my memory on this, but I believe this was a what would okay. It was sold as per the report I'm seeing here.
Okay, so it was not reversed for government use,
No.
to the best of your knowledge. All right. If we look at number 7 as well,
Yes.
number 7 of the technical committee report, it says Jendula Nightclub, Banjul Serekunda Highway, Mile 2.
Number 7.
Yes.
Yes.
I will note here that the commission did recommend that the property should be sold by public auction, similar to the other properties. The technical committee recommended that it should be allocated to the GT board for tourism related purposes.
Yes.
Now, is there an update on this particular property, whether it was indeed sold?
Yes. On the report before me, yes, it's sold.
Is there a reason? Of course, we understand that the technical committee are only advisors, and they advise the ministerial committee, who then also advise cabinet, and cabinet makes the decision. But if you could enlighten us on the reason for the shift from the technical committee's recommendation.
1 second. I need to be sure. Jangdula was sold in phase one, so I was not minister at the time. I wouldn't know the reasoning. I just confirmed from the reports that it was sold in phase one. At that time, I don't know the reason what informed the decision to sell.
Please direct us to the portion of the report.
I don't know whether you have updated reports. I have reports from the receiver. Because I saw
Yes,
him
we have
writing
that.
to the National Assembly
We
submitting
have that.
further information.
Yes, we have that. We have that report.
Yes. So if you go to the matrix that he provided, a breakdown of phase one, phase two, and phase three sales, you will know each property at what phase was it sold. So phase one, phase two, and phase three sales all happened before I became minister. So I don't know the rationale behind the decisions of their sales.
Perhaps we can circle back on that issue.
Yeah, no problem. If you have the matrix, which I'm happy to share on WhatsApp now, the one I'm looking at, it's on phase one, number 8. It looks like date of sale is 24th of May 2021. Of course, if it is part of that date, I was minister, but it's listed under phase one. So that means advertisement and sales decision were all done before I became minister. Like I said, some payments and sales were pending and they got completed after some time. But phase one sales, the approval for sale was done before I became minister.
So it was, for that property, was there ever a rethink or a revisiting of that decision by the committee or cabinet?
The committee that I presided over, I don't remember ever discussing about this property.
Okay. Perhaps we can move on to Hamza Barracks. It
Yes.
is information that we've got that it was initially sold, but the decision was reversed.
Yes.
Can you confirm this position and the basis?
That is correct, yes.
Perhaps?
That is
Is
correct.
there a
That's why
basis?
you wouldn't see it listed among the properties sold.
What was the basis of the decision, if we may?
I was not in office when that decision was made to sell and to reverse. But I understood, for the benefit of the committee, based on my own consultation, that government just deemed it necessary to keep it for use.
I had asked earlier what the current status of the properties are. We have included that as part of our list, I believe.
That is the Hamza?
No, all the properties. Perhaps if we could get an updated report, or rather update, on all phases, including phase 4. Now, I understand phase 4 is not conclusive, but something to that effect can be minuted under phase 4. But just to get an updated report on the 3 phases.
Okay.
Okay. Now I would like to zero in to the document from Parliament. That's the Hansard records. We are moving pretty fast. We have 2 issues left.
Okay.
And I wish to go one by one
To
on
the
all
Hansard.
issues. Yes, the Hansard record. So if we look at page 46, the second paragraph, just wish to confirm a few things.
Yes, please.
It was a question put by the Honorable member for Bakau, Honorable Asanture. And perhaps if I read the question and answer, it would be tedious. I'm not sure whether we can just both skim through the records, and because the question is on page 44, the answer goes all the way to page 50. So it's quite a detailed. But I can give you the essence of what I'm looking for. He asked a question about how the assets were sold and administered. And part of the question, part of the answer, you had mentioned that the properties were sold by way of closed bid. Can you confirm or deny or deny that position?
So this is my briefing. That's how the sales took place. Advertisement valuations were done, of course, and then they were advertised on the website, and I think on newspapers. Then people will apply on closed bids, yes, and the bids were open in public, of course, in the ministry. I understand they were used in the Ministry of Justice conference room in the presence of bidders or their representatives. Yes, I can confirm based on my briefing, which I don't have any reason to doubt, that was how the sales were happening.
So I just wish to sanitize our records and also further the understanding of the committee, because it says closed bids, but further in the answer as well, you would see that a website open to the general public is also provided, and you that was part of your answer to the
Yes.
National Assembly.
Yes.
And that could cause some confusion whether it's closed. But what I want from you, Honorable Minister, is an explanation as to.
So the website was meant to advertise.
Exactly. So the advertisement.
So once
process
people see these
vis-a-vis
properties on the website and they like them, then they apply an offer. And these offers are made in closed envelopes. That's why we mean by closed bids. And then a date is set for those bids to be opened. I guess that's my understanding.
Okay. So it's not that the bidding process and the advertisement process were closed to a selected few people.
No.
Advertisement was
not at all. No. Closed bids means people who are offering to buy properties of their choice.
Yes.
They made their offer in closed bids. And then once the closing date has reached, then a date is set for the opening of the bids.
My apologies. One second. Okay. On the next page, you would see the next page, second paragraph. In the middle of that paragraph, there's a sentence that begins, also, purchaser of number 26 Buckle Street was refunded after withdrawing his offer.
This is page 40.
47. Page 47.
Okay. Oh, number 46 Buckle Street.
26.
Yeah, 26, sorry. 26 Buckle Street.
Yes.
Yes. So what's the question?
So what your answer encompassed to the National Assembly was that basically that 26 Buckle Street was refunded to the purchaser withdrew rather because of financial constraints, and that was the report to Parliament. However, the submissions of the receiver, Alpha Capital Advisory, in one of his appendixes, I believe it's the document that you referred to just a few moments ago, it reports that the property has been sold for a sale price of 18 million. And the owner has been, the new owner has been highlighted here. I will also not mention the name.
Yes, I've seen that report. I think there is a story behind this particular one. I think the initial most responsive bidder was not the one who bought. Maybe at the time of us answering that question, the most responsive bidder didn't proceed with the purchase. So what we need to confirm now is, now on record it is sold. But when was it sold? Was it at the time when I answered the question or after when I answered the question? I believe the answer is accurate as at the time when I was answering that question, that the most responsive bidder, who was the top of the list, didn't conclude the sale. And I think they ended up refunding him, and then the property was sold to maybe the second most responsive bidder.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps we can move on to page 51 of the record.
51. Yes.
And there is a question from the Honorable Member for Pony Kansala, Honorable Almame Jiba, and he inquires about Wadna Garden. And your answer was that the information was not readily at hand, and you would get back to him on that. This committee wishes to just confirm the status of Wadna Garden. Perhaps in that we can also add in the Sifo Gardens.
Okay.
Yeah, so an update on the Wadna and Sifo Gardens.
All right. I've taken note of that, so we'll provide those updates.
My apologies, I was muted. We can proceed to page 53. And there's a question there from the Honorable Member for Brikama North and the Minority Leader, Honorable Alaji S. Dabo. And on the page
53.
before, yes, 53 and 52. 52, the same question coming from the Honorable Member for Janjambure, Honorable Omar JAMMEH. However, we can focus on the one on page 53 by the Minority Leader.
As the properties not sold and are being used.
Yes, but I'm more interested in your response, especially the latter part of your response, which says, however, I need to hasten to say the commission recommended further investigations which are ongoing and more properties are being discovered. So perhaps an update on those new properties discovered, if not already submitted to the committee, just for the avoidance of any doubt. So the other question or query I had, most of the questions are in relation to on this issue. Most of the questions are in relation to the properties, and seeing that the update has not yet come before the committee, I would reserve those questions until we receive that update. Because if it's too late, then we'll just have to include it in the report. However, I have noted on several occasions when you're updating the assembly, you've mentioned that the sale of cattle was done by the commission. But I must also note that on the last pages of the document I just gave you, it was seemingly corrected. But to be fair to the Honorable Attorney General, Honorable Chair, he did mention in this session and his earlier session that these are all briefings from third parties. So just perhaps to sanitize the record, the assembly's record, we can include it in our report. So I will not pose the question anymore. It's already sanitized by the Attorney General himself. So that issue is a non-issue, Honorable Chair. Yes.
I was a little bit distracted. What was the last question?
That's fine. I'm saying that we have to abandon one of the issues because although the minister had mentioned on several occasions to the National Assembly that the cattle were sold by the commission, of course, we now know that they were sold by the sheriff's office. But he did mention on record, in the Hansard records as well as today's record, to be fair to him, that they were all from briefings. And he could only speak to what he was briefed. So I am asking that we make that a non-issue and move on. Yes. But not quite to move on the issue of cattle, we will go to the document I sent you. That is the second document I sent you prior to the sending of the reports. And that is, it's tagged as, my apologies, let me guide the committee on this. OHS 12. Honorable Attorney General, you also have it as OHS 12. And I wish for us to deliberate on that memo. Perhaps just to put it on the record, that OHS 12, Honorable Chair, is an internal memo from within, rather, my apologies, within the judiciary, from the former sheriff, who was a witness before us, to the judicial secretary, and copying the Chief Justice. Now, Honorable Attorney General and Honorable Chair, I am interested mostly on the last page of that document. And the second to last paragraph, which says sometime in late August. And if I can read it out verbatim, while perhaps the Attorney General, who I just sent this document before we started, can internalize the content.
So you can go ahead and read.
Yes. The memo on that part reads, I would need guidance from you, Honorable Chair. Would you want me to read the entire memo or just that relevant portion? Because context also does matter.
Well, what matters here is you know what you are driving at.
Yes.
So choose the best first.
Okay. I'll
We are
choose
also following because we have the text already.
Great. So the subject of the memo was sent, the date of the memo is the 30th of November 2023. The subject is the auction sale of cattle in the matter of Attorney General and Yaya AJJ JAMMEH. And fast forwarding to the second to last paragraph, it says, sometime in late August 2023, I received a phone call from D. Binga ESQ, the Director of Civil Litigation at the Ministry of Justice, who requested me to avail him of the details of said auction and proceeds thereof. I duly obliged and forwarded him by text the account details and referred him to the office of the sheriff for further information. Mr. Binga later informed me that he has instructed the bank by letter to move the entire funds therein into a designated account on the instructions of his superiors. By the recent bank alert I received from the bank by text, it appears that the funds, inclusive of the proceeds and interest in the account therein, have been moved or withdrawn. And full stop. Before I probe into questions, Honorable Attorney General, perhaps on the basis of just this reading, I can allow you latitude to explain this.
I strongly believe this was based on my instructions myself. Honorable Justice Tambali was a colleague of mine when we were both magistrates in Serekunda, Carnifing Magistrate Court. So we have that familiarity. He has my number. I believe what triggered this SMS alert from the account that he's talking about, he called my attention to this and informed me, look, the cattle sale proceeds are still lodged in an account. If my memory serves me well, I think it's Trust Bank. He said, I continue to receive SMS alerts from that account. I believe your people need to do something about that. So I remember when I get to the office, at that time, Binga was Director of Civil Litigation and was supervising these matters. I instructed him, get in touch with Justice Tabali, get the details of that account, himself and the Solicitor General. I instructed them, if it is true those monies are there and they are proceeds of those cattle sales, make sure the monies go to the appropriate account, that is the government account. I remember giving those instructions. I believe this is in respect of that.
Okay, that's great. I wish for, because on reading of the paragraph, the committee was worried about a few issues, and I wish for you to clarify and elucidate on that. The first is that we know that the judiciary and the Ministry of Justice are two distinct institutions. Now, how monies that are lodged in the judiciary can be accessed by the Ministry of Justice is not being explained by this memo. The memo raises several questions that the committee wishes to clear the air.
So we will try to give you more updates. I'll find out from the Solicitor General. I only gave instructions. I was not involved in the implementation of the instruction. When Tabali brought it to my attention that there is an account in a commercial bank that contains the proceeds of cattle sale, and I am still receiving SMS alerts because I believe I'm a signatory or I am the authority on that account, I just went to the office and instructed the Solicitor General and the Director of Civil Litigation, can you work with Justice Tabali and make sure that those public funds are moved to the central bank? How they went about it, how they did it, really, I would just need to get them to provide the details to the committee.
So just to clear the air, the instructions, were these verbal instructions or written instructions?
Yeah, from me to my staff, yes. But I believe they must have written to the bank. They must have, I don't know whether they wrote to Tabali or they wrote to the bank, but I'm sure the bank could not release the funds without the authority on that account indulging. So maybe Tabali, what I would not know is on what authority did Justice Tabali open the account, and whether it was seen as a personal account or it was a serif account. And so the issues of official between judiciary and justice that you are asking, maybe when the Solicitor General's office provides the details or how they manage to transfer the funds, those details will come out.
Just a minute, Honorable Attorney General. I wish to confirm the trust bank account so that we are on the same page. I believe it was a sheriff, office of the sheriff account. It was an institutional account too.
Okay, so I don't know whether, so how the money moved from trust bank to central bank, I don't know. It's an operational issue. The office of the Solicitor General will shed light on this.
Okay, but just a quick one. You said the instructions were verbal to your staff, but then your staff must have written to the respective institutions, the bank and the judicial. Okay, perhaps we can move on to a final issue, which is the safe.
Okay.
And if you could clarify which office or which officer currently has custody of the safe.
To be honest with you, I've never been briefed about this safe. I just hear it from the testimonies at the committee. I don't know. I have never received any memo, correspondence, or even a formal briefing regarding this infamous safe. So I really cannot comment anything. I am told it is lodged in the Ministry of Justice, but I don't know who handed over to who and who is in proper custody of the safe. And I don't believe I've ever even seen it.
Okay, Honorable Chair, I wish to make a formal request that the committee visit the Ministry of Justice and that the Minister or the Solicitor General can facilitate the opening of the safe just to confirm and conclude the items in the safe, because it wouldn't be fair for me to continue putting the questions to the Attorney General after his response.
That's thing to do, because really we've been asking a lot of questions about this safe. I think the right thing for us to do now is to go and see for ourselves. That's fine.
I agree.
Granted.
I agree. You probably would not be able to logically conclude your investigations if there is a safe somewhere that you have not visited or opened.
What about the factory crane?
The factory?
Crane.
I don't know about that. I've never been briefed on that as well.
And what about, sorry, my apologies. Okay, with regards to the factory, I'm told that we have gotten word from your ministry and your SG has endorsed us. So I will not probe on that any longer. But there was a scanner that was submitted along with the documents by the Commission of Inquiry, and we wish to know what has become of these heavy-duty scanners.
I have not been ever briefed about the scanner. One thing I know about this scanner is my knowledge of it when I was in the Ministry of Finance just before I resigned in 2016. But with respect to my portfolio in the Ministry of Justice, the scanner has never formed part of any meeting discussions or briefing or documentation that I've ever received.
Perhaps what we can do is equally give you that the same time period for the other items looked into, so that our report
Scanner,
is complete with regards to the scan.
Okay.
Now, the technical committee, and as well as the ministerial committee, were both chaired by the Ministry of Justice, and
Yes.
And the interministerial committee, in fact, the secretary was a personnel from the Ministry of Justice. I believe the director of civil litigation.
Yes, until his departure, yes, he was serving as secretary.
We have asked for the minutes of both committees to be sent to the committee, and I don't believe we have received any to date. Perhaps that could also form part of
No,
it.
can you interrogate the files that were sent from Ministry of Justice? The meetings that were held during my time, the minutes are provided. They are in one of the files.
Yes,
But I was not able to find minutes before my time. But during my time, we provided the minutes to you.
See, the bulk of the work was done prior to your appointment as.
So to be honest with you, I was not able to find minutes of those ones.
Okay. Now, what of the investigations that the government commissioned in Panama? Were there any assets in Panama discovered in Panama or in Switzerland or anywhere overseas, aside from the property in Maryland and the properties in Morocco?
No, not to my knowledge. We initially, well, I inherited a farm that was contracted to do an asset search. So that contract didn't continue. We attempted to renegotiate it, but parties couldn't agree, so we ended up terminating. So that responsibility now shifted to the Ministry of Finance, like we are all trying to correct the situation. So Ministry of Finance, of course, with support from us, have engaged another external firm, Asset Discovery, who has some competence in the search and discovery of stolen assets. So there's an active contract now in that area, but no discovery yet.
My apologies. Well, that's it from me at this very stage, but I do make the request that we break for lunch, and then after lunch, the high table can probe. But that is in your discretion. I can see some opposition to that already.
May I interject? Chair, I would want to make an application. I am here leading a team participating in a very intense arbitration case. And really, instead of breaking to come back, if I can take questions now, a team of international lawyers are currently waiting for me. I'm just making a special plea.
I withdraw my
because what I'm doing here also is equally in the interest of the country.
I withdraw my application.
Okay, it's withdrawn, but even if it is not withdrawn, we'll sacrifice also because of what you are giving, perhaps it's reasonable. So we'll continue. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's only the two Kundankas are the problem here, but we'll continue. So at this point in time, I would ask Honorable Sir to his questions.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, my first question is about the property at JAMMEH. You made mention that the property at JAMMEH.
The property at JAMMEH, yes.
Yeah, you made mention that the property is currently at court.
Yes.
Who are the parties to it?
I'm not so good with names, but some that sounds like Banta Kaira, something of that sort. Against the Attorney General. I believe really I would supply that details, but that's what the name that came to my head on top of my head. But we can supply the case details.
Is the property currently occupied by tenants?
Sorry?
The property is currently occupied by tenants.
Yes, but I think it's still is managed by the receiver. It is in government possession, yes. But somebody is
It's managed by the receiver.
Yeah, somebody is challenging our title and right, our forfeiture of those properties. So that's why they've not been sold or used by government for something else, because it's been litigated.
Honourable Minister, you mentioned about phase 4 of the sale, that you asked the receiver to do the valuation of those properties.
Yes.
Who pays the valuator?
I believe the receiver.
You believe is that was that part of his contract?
Yes, it's part of the receivership. I can confirm this, but I believe so. Because I've never received any request for payment of any related services that the receiver is providing.
But who monitors the valuation? Who monitors the valuation of those properties? Who monitors it?
Who monitors it?
Yes.
The valuation reports are submitted to the committee, and we use our government expertise to look at whether the valuations are reasonable or not.
Before sales? Before
sales, yes. Unless valuations are approved by government, he doesn't proceed to sell.
Honourable Minister, the buyers normally pays to the house of the receiver.
I didn't get that.
Correct. The buyers.
Yes.
Of this normally pays to the house of the receiver. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why are they not paying to the account of the account at the current central bank directly than paying to the receiver?
I found that arrangement in place, but I think that is in order because the receiver is contracted to sell. So the party here is the receiver and the buyers.
But if monies are lodged to the account of the receiver for quite a long time, it generates interest. Where are those interests taken to? Are they for the receiver or for the country?
So I need to find out because it's not all accounts that are interest-bearing accounts. So we need to find out whether these were interest-bearing accounts, and if interest were generated, where do they go? But that is something that we need to verify. I did not avert my mind to that.
Honourable Minister, you made mention about, I know you are aware of those accounts that were frozen by the system, and then most of them were not in the name of JAMMEH, but in the name of a party called APRC. What is the current state of those accounts?
I'm sorry, Honorable, I apologize. Can you repeat the question?
There were accounts that were frozen by the current system.
Yes.
And that were not in the name of JAMMEH, but in the name of a party. What is the current state of those accounts?
But that question is not specific, Honorable. There were accounts that were frozen by certain parties who are not JAMMEH. How would I know which accounts you are talking about?
No, I'm not saying parties. They were frozen by the system.
But which accounts are we talking about?
Your ministry, the name of APRC.
So you mean APRC account?
Yes.
I'll have to find out. I'll have to find out.
When will I get results from you?
We will send all this information to you. Since the hearing is ending today, my office will provide this information. I'm recording all the questions, all the updates that you need.
Honourable Minister, I won't say anywhere. We are all aware that JAMMEH has a very good musical set that was at the State House. What is the fate of that those sophisticated musical sets? Are they sold or they are still in the State House?
I can only find out also and update the committee.
Honourable Minister, you're always finding out.
Well, I don't know about musical set, Honourable MP. I don't know about them.
Honourable Minister, during your intervention with the interaction with the council, the council, you made mention about, he asked about the current new deputies that are coming into the central bank. And according to you, you said you halted sales because of the current activities of the current committee of the National Assembly, are they still not selling, or they are only still receiving money that were sold before time?
There are no ongoing sales at this stage. Like I said, the next sales are going to be part of phase 4, and phase 4 sales are yet to be approved.
But if you look at the website, according to the there are lands that are currently on the website, and they are on sale.
Those are the unsold properties from the previous phases.
So meaning those ones are part of our investigation, Honorable Minister. They are also part of our investigation. So should they be part of
let me put it this way. The committee have not approved, they halted approval of sales, but we have not halted the contract of the receiver. So properties
not
that
the
were
contract, but the
for
sales.
sale, yeah, properties that were put up for sale and were in the market were never taken away from the market.
Honorable Minister, the web is still active, as I mentioned to you. It is still active. So if at all you hold details, I think it should be on board the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because all these things are part of our investigation. So all of them should be halted, as you propose. And the issue of Mr. Binga, I want clarity here, because Mr. Tabali mentioned that he received a call from Mr. Binga instructing him to transfer or give the account detail of those funds. After the transfer, he received an alert. Was Binga executed to the account?
Like I said, I only gave instructions that the Serif or former Serif, Justice Tabari, contacted me about an account that contained the proceeds of cattle sale or cattle sale. And I instructed my team to work with him to ensure that the monies are moved appropriately to the government accounts. How that was done, like I said, I only have to get you further information. I was not involved in the manner in which those transfers took place.
So Tabari informed you because he was receiving alert from the bank.
Yes, yes. He told me
that was the time
he was the one who brought the existence of this account to my attention.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Today, some questions. Okay.
Rucha, if I may intervene kindly, I've noted that reference has been made to Justice Tabali as Tabali alone. I wouldn't allow anybody to come here and not call honorable members, honorable such and such. So I think it's appropriate that we attach his title to his name. He's the Honorable Judge of the High Court, and he's Justice Tabali.
Thank you. Very well.
I don't hear Justice Tabali. Justice Tabali. I don't mean Justice Tabali.
Noted.
Yes, Honorable Minister. You have
Yes.
Honorable Minister, are you an active member of the Ministerial Task Force?
I am the chair.
You are the chair.
Yes.
Is the task force still selling land that were forfeited from JAMMEH?
Well, I don't know how are you using the word sell, yes, but we are supervising, yes, we are supervising the sale of land. But like I said, we've not done so for quite a while now.
How many How many plots are outstanding that are not sold? Do you have a memory of that?
No, that will come as part of the updates. I think one of the updates that have been requested will provide that information.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Minister, I have just a question.
Okay.
And would you be surprised to know that, or would you be surprised to know that the Ministerial Task Force is still selling JAMMEH's assets? Correct.
I mean, you know, now I have to be careful on the context because, like I said, there are sales that were approved in phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Some properties in those phases were not sold. They are still in the market. So if we are referring to those sales are the ones that are going on, of course, yes. But phase 4, that is the last phase of sales, have not yet been approved and endorsed by the ministerial committee. So therefore, no. With respect to phase 4, we have not approved any sales yet. So sales are pretty much suspended. But there have been ongoing sales, you know, the legacy sales from phase 1, 2, and 3. If you're aware of any sales, if they don't belong to that, then yes, I'll be surprised.
Okay. And is the task force meeting?
We meet as and when necessary, yes.
Can you recall when you last met?
We just met, I think, 2 weeks ago, not formally, but on the sidelines of cabinet that we had in Mankamang about 2 weeks ago. Was not meant to be a formal meeting, but we discussed some issues regarding our assignment and we gave further instructions to the receiver on some.
Okay, that will be all from me. And thank you for hearing. Legal, do you have any follow-up questions?
Yes, so just a few clarifications. I had forgotten to pose a question to you with regarding the properties, or the real property in the provinces, the land in the provinces. Is there any update on that? And also an update on the cancellation of title.
Cancellation of title, I believe the Registrar General provided that.
Well, not quite.
Registrar General did not provide any update on leases that were cancelled. I saw a specific summons to him and
yes,
he responded.
He did provide a few.
Because he's in charge of the deeds registry. So whatever you get from him, I will take it. That should be what is available.
So I wish for the question to be, or the update to be given from the perspective of the ministerial committee.
So update on what? Lease cancellations?
Yes. And of those that are yet to be cancelled as well.
Okay.
That's it from me, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Thank you. And I guess that's all for the minister. That's all?
Sorry?
And I said, I guess that's all for the minister?
Yes, that is all for the minister.
For today? Yes.
I would advise, however, that I know the minister is pressed for time. We could just give him a few moments to say whatever he needs to say, since he's our last witness. Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Lead Counsel. I don't have much to say. First, maybe to thank the Chair, through the Chair, all members of the committee, but of course, your support staff, led by the team, the legal team, and the clerk of the National Assembly, the entire membership of the National Assembly, the Speaker, and both sides of the House. I mean, we have a lot to be proud of, out of this process, because 10 or more years ago, where we were, and where we are today is completely different. So this is democracy at work. Legislature playing its role in holding the executive accountable. Really, this is very commendable. We commend you for a good job. We could all learn from this and even improve these processes even better as we move forward. So apart from that, all I could say is we must not forget what brought us to what we are doing today. We underwent 22 years of dictatorship, and we are still picking the pieces. And as we do so, let's focus on that and also focus on the future and try to help the nation to heal from what it underwent and move on. These are all part of those processes. I thank you very much on behalf of government. We look forward to seeing your report and see what we can do out of the report. Thank you very much. That's much I can do, and we look forward to your report.
Thank you very much to you as well. At this juncture, I would like to make a short remark, as this is marking the end of our public hearing today of this special committee. I want to thank the committee members for their time, the legal team, an excellent job, and they have proven the Downton Thomas wrong at the beginning. And also I want to thank the investigators for a very good job that they have done, the office of the clerk, and the rest of the team of security, our own internal IT, and also the media that are with us throughout this journey. Like I said, today ends the public hearing. I also want to inform the public that during this period, we have sat in this auditorium for more than 60 days. According to my own record, it's 61 days today. And then we had called several witnesses, numbering either 32 or a little above 32 witnesses that appeared publicly. And there were also several statements that were taken from witnesses that do not appear in the public hearing, but their statements are also, or will also constitute part of information for the committee to come up with the final report. We thank the audience as well. We thank everybody. And we will continue. This is not the end of the job. We will go into out of public hearing, but then the committee will continue to work behind closed doors in anticipation of presenting our final report to the plenary sometimes in December during the same session. So once more, I thank everybody, and we hope we will get to the end with all the information we have. I also want to thank the witnesses for their cooperation, even though sometimes it's difficult with some, but ultimately, majority of the witnesses are very cooperative. We'll keep on the work to the end very soon. On that note, we have now come to the end of this public hearing, and I thank everybody. So the hearing is hereby finally adjourned. Thank you.